For centuries, Egypt's royal tombs have guarded treasures beyond imagination. Now, new discoveries are pulling back the veil on secrets once thought lost forever. Let's uncover the mysteries of Egypt's pharaohs. The land of Egypt holds a special kind of magic. It's a place where the past isn't just buried. It feels alive, breathing in the heat of the desert sun and whispering along the banks of the river Nile. For thousands of years, this civilization was ruled by pharaohs, kings, and queens who were seen as living gods on earth. They built monuments that scraped the sky and filled their tombs with treasures meant to last for eternity. Their world was one of immense power, deep faith, and astonishing wealth. It's a world that, even now, continues to captivate us, drawing us in with its golden masks, towering pyramids, and the promise of secrets still waiting to be discovered. The fascination we have with these ancient rulers is truly powerful. Why do we still care about people who lived so long ago? I think it's because their stories are fundamentally human, even though they lived like gods. They loved, they fought, they feared death, and they hoped for an afterlife. The royal families of Egypt left behind a puzzle, a grand and glittering mystery scattered across the centuries. We are compelled to solve it, to understand what it meant to be a pharaoh, to wield absolute power, and to prepare for a journey into the next world. Every new discovery is another piece of that puzzle, bringing us closer to these extraordinary people. Imagine a world where your king is your connection to the gods, where the rising sun is a divine act, and where death is not an end, but a new beginning. This was the reality for ancient Egyptians. The royal court was the center of this universe, a place of elaborate ritual, political intrigue, and incredible artistry. The secrets of these royal families are not just about hidden gold or lost tombs. They are about understanding a completely different way of seeing the world. They challenge our own ideas about life, death, and what it means to leave a legacy behind for future generations to puzzle over. And so, the quest continues. Archaeologists, historians, and explorers are still drawn to Egypt's golden sands, driven by the chance to uncover something new, something that could change everything we thought we knew. The stories of these pharaohs are not finished. They are written in stone, painted on tomb walls, and wrapped in the linen of mummies. Our journey is to learn how to read them, to listen to the echoes of their world, and to unveil the secrets that have been kept safe for millennia, just waiting for us to find them. It is a detective story on the grandest scale imaginable. Discovering the secrets of the pharaohs is a story of patience, incredible luck, and brilliant detective work. For centuries, explorers and archaeologists have combed the Egyptian landscape, searching for clues. They follow ancient texts, study the stars, and even use high-tech satellite imagery to look for patterns in the sand. The biggest prizes, of course, have always been the tombs. These were not just graves, they were eternal palaces for the soul, designed to protect the pharaoh's body and provide everything they would need in the afterlife. Finding an intact tomb is the dream of every Egyptologist, a direct doorway into the past. The most famous place for these discoveries is the Valley of the Kings, a rocky, sun-scorched canyon on the west bank of the Nile. For nearly 500 years, this was the chosen burial ground for the rulers of the New Kingdom. It looks barren and lifeless, but beneath the surface, it is a honeycomb of hidden chambers and secret corridors. Archaeologists like Howard Carter, who famously found Tutankhamun, spent years searching here. They would look for subtle dips in the ground, unusual piles of rock, or the remains of ancient workers' huts, all signs that something important might lie buried just a few feet below their feet. The process of discovery is often slow and painstaking. It begins with clearing away layers of sand and rock, sometimes for months or even years, without any guarantee of success. When an entrance is found, the excitement is immense, but it is mixed with caution. The team has to carefully document everything they see. They take photographs, draw maps, and carefully record the position of every single object before it is moved. It's like entering a sacred space, a time capsule that has been sealed for over 3,000 years. The air itself feels different, heavy with history and the weight of eternity. Once inside, the real work begins. Tombs are often filled with a dazzling array of artifacts: golden chariots, intricate jewelry, beautiful furniture, and jars of food and wine. But archaeologists are also looking for something more: information. They search for inscriptions on the walls, hieroglyphs written on papyrus scrolls, and clues hidden within the objects themselves. These written records and images are the voices of the past. They tell us the name of the pharaoh, the story of their reign, and their hopes for the journey into the afterlife. Each discovery, big or small, helps us build a more complete picture of this incredible civilization. When we think of Egyptian treasures, one name immediately springs to mind: Tutankhamun. The discovery of his tomb in 1922 by Howard Carter was a moment that electrified the entire world. It was an almost unbelievable find. While other pharaohs' tombs had been robbed in antiquity, Tutankhamun's was nearly untouched, packed to the ceiling with thousands of breathtaking objects. It gave us our first and only complete look at the sheer opulence of a royal Egyptian burial. The sheer quantity of gold was staggering, a testament to the immense wealth and power that even a relatively minor pharaoh could command during his lifetime. The most iconic object from the tomb is, without a doubt, the pharaoh's death mask. Made of solid gold and inlaid with precious stones, it is a masterpiece of ancient art. It was designed to cover the head and shoulders of Tutankhamun's mummy, ensuring that the gods would recognize him in the afterlife. But beyond its beauty, the mask held a deeper purpose. For the Egyptians, gold was the flesh of the gods, an eternal substance that never decayed. By encasing the pharaoh in gold, they were not just preserving his image, they were transforming him into a divine being, ready for his rebirth. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb did more than just show us a lot of gold. It completely changed our understanding of this period in Egyptian history. Tutankhamun was a boy king who ruled for only about a decade. He came to the throne just after the controversial reign of Akhenaten, who had tried to change Egypt's entire religion. The treasures in Tutankhamun's tomb showed that his reign was a time of restoration, a return to the old gods and traditions. The art style, the religious symbols, and the sheer lavishness of his burial all pointed to a deliberate effort to bring stability and prosperity back to the kingdom. What is truly remarkable is that Tutankhamun was not one of the great, long-reigning pharaohs like Ramesses the Great. He was a minor figure in the grand sweep of Egyptian history. This makes you wonder, if this is what a minor king was buried with, what must the tombs of the truly mighty pharaohs have contained before they were robbed? The treasures of Tutankhamun give us a tantalizing glimpse into an even greater world of wealth and power that is now lost to time. His legacy is not just the gold he left behind, but the window he opened into the heart of the pharaonic age. While golden masks and magnificent sarcophagi capture our imagination, some of the most fascinating treasures are the ones that tell us about the daily lives of the royal families. These objects reveal the human side of the pharaohs, showing us that beyond their divine status, they were people who enjoyed simple pleasures. In Tutankhamun's tomb, for example, archaeologists found beautifully crafted board games like senet, which was a favorite pastime in ancient Egypt. Finding these games tucked away amongst the grander ritual items feels so personal, like discovering a pharaoh's hobby. It reminds us that even a living god needed to unwind and have some fun. The food and drink left in tombs also provide incredible insights. We found jars that once held wine labeled with the year, the vineyard, and even the name of the chief winemaker, just like a modern bottle of fine wine. There were also preserved cuts of meat, loaves of bread, and baskets of dates and figs. These weren't just symbolic offerings, they were the very best food and drink the kingdom had to offer, packed for the pharaoh's long journey. It shows us what the royal banquet table might have looked like and tells us a great deal about the Egyptian diet, their agriculture, and their love of a good feast. Clothing and jewelry also paint a vivid picture of royal life. We have found delicate linen tunics, intricate beaded collars, and elegant sandals belonging to kings and queens. These items show a keen eye for fashion and a love of beauty. The jewelry, in particular, was not just for decoration. Each piece was rich with symbolism. A scarab beetle represented rebirth, the ankh symbolized life, and the Eye of Horus offered protection. When a queen wore a heavy golden necklace, she was not just displaying her wealth. She was wrapping herself in a powerful layer of divine protection and magical meaning that was understood by everyone around her. Even the furniture found in tombs speaks volumes about the comfort and luxury of the royal court. We have discovered elegant chairs with carved animal legs, beds inlaid with ivory, and ornate wooden chests for storing personal belongings. These were not rough, purely functional items. They were pieces of high craftsmanship, designed for both beauty and comfort. They show us that the pharaoh's palace was a place of sophisticated living. By studying these everyday objects, we can move beyond the image of the pharaoh as a distant, godlike figure and begin to imagine them as real people, living in a world of surprising elegance and refinement. The pharaohs of Egypt understood the power of images better than almost anyone in history. They didn't have television or the internet to communicate their authority, so they used stone. Across the land, they built colossal temples and erected towering statues of themselves, constant and unmissable reminders of their power. These were not just artistic projects, they were powerful statements of political and religious control. When you stood before a 30-foot-tall statue of a pharaoh, you were meant to feel small and insignificant. You were in the presence of a god on earth, a ruler whose power was as permanent and unyielding as the granite from which his image was carved. The great temples, like Karnak or Luxor, were the centers of this state-sponsored propaganda. They were not just places of worship, but also vast economic engines and administrative hubs, all controlled by the pharaoh. The walls of these temples are covered in incredible reliefs, depicting the pharaoh as a mighty warrior, single-handedly defeating Egypt's enemies. We see scenes of the king smiting his foes or making offerings to the gods, who in turn grant him life and dominion. These images were repeated again and again, reinforcing the message that the pharaoh was the sole protector of Egypt and the only intermediary between humanity and the divine. The statues themselves were believed to contain a part of the pharaoh's spirit, or they were not just representations, but living presences. Priests would perform daily rituals before them, offering food and incense as if to the king himself. This is why the statues are often shown in a very formal, rigid pose, either striding forward with purpose or seated in serene authority. They were designed to convey a sense of eternal calm and unshakable power. The materials used, hard stones like granite and quartzite, were chosen for their durability, meant to ensure that the pharaoh's image and therefore his power would last for millions of years. This use of art and architecture was a brilliant strategy. In a vast kingdom with a largely illiterate population, these monumental structures and statues were a universal language of power. Every person, from the humble farmer to the visiting dignitary, would immediately understand the pharaoh's supreme status. The sheer scale of these projects, quarrying, transporting, and erecting these massive stones, was also a demonstration of the king's ability to command immense resources and manpower. The temples and statues were, in essence, the secrets of royal power hidden in plain sight, a masterclass in how to rule through spectacle and stone. While stone monuments declared the pharaoh's power to the world, some of the most intimate royal secrets were entrusted to a more fragile medium papyrus. This ancient form of paper, made from the reeds of the Nile, was where the daily business, the private thoughts, and the hidden scandals of the royal court were recorded. These scrolls are incredibly rare, as papyrus easily decays, but the ones that have survived are priceless treasures. They give us a glimpse behind the grand facade of the pharaoh's court and into the complex human dramas that unfolded there. They are the whispers of history, finally made audible. Among the most revealing documents are the administrative records. These might sound dull, but they are full of fascinating details. We have papyri that list the rations for the workers who built the royal tombs, giving us insight into their daily lives. Other scrolls detail the vast income flowing into the royal treasury from taxes and tributes, showing the economic foundations of the pharaoh's power. We even have court records detailing legal disputes and criminal trials, including a famous papyrus that describes a conspiracy to assassinate Pharaoh Ramesses III. This document reads like a modern-day thriller, naming the conspirators, including one of the king's own wives. Personal letters written on papyrus offer an even more direct connection to the past. We can read correspondence between a king and his generals on campaign, or between a queen and her officials managing her estates. These letters are often written in a less formal script called hieratic, a kind of cursive version of the more pictorial hieroglyphs. They reveal the personalities of their authors, their worries, their commands, and sometimes even their sense of humor. It is a strange and wonderful feeling to read the actual words of someone who lived over 3,000 years ago, to hear their voice speaking directly to you across the millennia. Perhaps the most magical of all are the religious and literary texts. Papyrus scrolls were filled with hymns to the gods, magical spells to protect the dead, and epic stories of heroes and deities. The most famous of these is the Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and instructions intended to guide the soul of the deceased safely through the dangers of the underworld. Multiple copies have been found, many beautifully illustrated, created for kings, queens, and high officials. These texts reveal the deepest beliefs and fears of the Egyptian elite, showing us not what they wanted the world to see, but what they truly believed about life, death, and eternity. Not all discoveries provide clear answers. Some only deepen the mystery. One of the most intriguing and lesser-known stories from the Valley of the Kings revolves around a tomb known today as KV-21. It was first discovered in 1817, but was not fully excavated until much later. Inside, archaeologists found not one, but two female mummies from the 18th dynasty, the golden age of the New Kingdom. They were clearly royal women, buried in the prestigious valley alongside the great pharaohs. Yet frustratingly, there were no inscriptions, no names, nothing to tell us who they were. Their identities were a complete secret. The mummies were found in a terrible state. Tomb robbers had torn them apart in their frantic search for jewelry and amulets, leaving them desecrated and anonymous. For decades, they were just two more unnamed victims of history. But with the advent of modern science, a new possibility for identification emerged: DNA analysis. Scientists were able to extract genetic material from the mummies, hoping to match them to other known members of the royal family, whose DNA had also been mapped. The results, when they came, were astonishing and opened up a whole new chapter in the story of Tutankhamun's family. The DNA tests revealed that one of the mummies in KV-21 was almost certainly the mother of the two fetuses that had been found buried in Tutankhamun's own tomb. This made her Ankhesenamun, Tutankhamun's wife and half-sister. For the first time, we had likely found the remains of the famous queen who disappeared from the historical record after her husband's death. It was a monumental breakthrough. Finding Ankhesenamun helps us piece together the final tragic generation of this royal line. She was the last survivor of Akhenaten's family, a woman who had known immense privilege and then profound loss. But the story doesn't end there. If one mummy is Ankhesenamun, who is the other? The second mummy in the tomb remains unidentified, another royal woman of the same period whose name is lost to us. Was she Ankhesenamun's sister, a rival queen, a trusted companion? We simply don't know. The Tomb of the Unnamed Queens, KV-21, is a perfect example of how archaeology works. One discovery can solve a long-standing mystery while simultaneously presenting us with a brand new one. It reminds us that for every secret we unveil in Egypt, another one seems to be waiting in the shadows. Among the thousands of treasures buried with Tutankhamun, there lay a small object of immense significance, one whose secret was not fully understood until our own time. Tucked into the wrappings of the young king's mummy were two daggers. One was magnificent, with a blade of solid gold, but it was the other one that baffled experts. Its blade was made of iron, a metal that was incredibly rare and more valuable than gold during the Bronze Age when Tutankhamun lived. The question that puzzled archaeologists for decades was, where did this iron come from? The Egyptians were not yet smelting iron ore on a large scale. The answer to this mystery was, quite literally, out of this world. For years, scientists suspected the iron might be meteoric, meaning it came from a meteorite that had fallen from space. Ancient texts from other cultures sometimes referred to iron as metal from the sky, suggesting that they knew it had an extraterrestrial origin. But proving it required advanced technology that simply wasn't available to Howard Carter in the 1920s. The dagger was too precious to damage by taking a physical sample, so the secret of its blade remained locked away for nearly a century, a silent enigma in a Cairo museum display case. Finally, in the 21st century, a team of Italian and Egyptian scientists used a non-invasive technique called X-ray fluorescence spectrometry to analyze the chemical composition of the blade without ever touching it. Their findings confirmed the long-held theory. The iron of the dagger blade had a high concentration of nickel and cobalt, a chemical signature that perfectly matched known iron meteorites. The iron used to forge this priceless royal weapon had indeed fallen from the stars. This was an astonishing confirmation that ancient Egyptians not only found and valued these celestial objects, but also possessed the skill to work this incredibly hard material. This discovery tells us something profound about the Egyptians' worldview. They saw a connection between the heavens and their divine ruler. To place a dagger made of celestial metal next to the body of the pharaoh was a powerful symbolic act. It armed him for his journey into the afterlife with a weapon that was literally heaven sent, a gift from the gods. This single, small object opens up a whole new perspective on their understanding of the cosmos and the materials they considered to be sacred. It is a perfect example of how the oldest royal secrets can sometimes only be unlocked by the very newest science. Unveiling the secrets of Egypt's royal families is more than just a treasure hunt. It's about piecing together the story of one of the world's greatest civilizations. Every tomb that is opened, every statue that is unearthed, and every papyrus that is translated adds another vital thread to the rich tapestry of human history. These discoveries allow us to walk in the footsteps of the pharaohs, to understand their beliefs, their ambitions, and their fears. They transform these almost mythical figures from names in a history book into complex, living people whose legacy continues to shape our world in countless ways. Understanding these royal secrets is crucial because the pharaohs were the heart of ancient Egyptian society. Their power and wealth drove the creation of the incredible art and architecture that we still admire today. Their religious beliefs shaped the culture of an entire nation for 3,000 years. By studying their lives, we learn about the structure of their government, their international trade networks, and their scientific advancements in fields like medicine and engineering. The story of the royal families is the story of Egypt itself, and we cannot understand one without the other. It is a story of human achievement on a truly epic scale. Furthermore, these discoveries have a profound impact on modern Egypt. They are a source of immense national pride and a vital part of the country's cultural identity. They also draw millions of visitors from around the globe, creating a connection between the past and the present. When we stand before the treasures of Tutankhamun or gaze up at the temples of Karnak, we are participating in a conversation that spans millennia. We are bearing witness to the enduring power of these ancient secrets and ensuring that the story of the pharaohs will continue to be told for generations to come. It connects us all to a shared human heritage. Ultimately, the search for Egypt's royal secrets is a search for understanding. It teaches us about the universal human desire to be remembered, to conquer death, and to leave something behind that will last forever. The pharaohs may have built their pyramids and filled their tombs to secure their own eternity, but in doing so, they left us an incredible gift. They left us a puzzle that continues to challenge and inspire us. And as we continue to explore the sands of Egypt, we know that there are still more secrets waiting to be found, more stories to be told, and more wonders to be revealed. The golden age of discovery is far from over.